Hey guys, I'm Lyle from Generous Lifestyle and I'm glad that you decided me. Hey guys, I'm Lyle from Generous Lifestyle and I'm glad that you decided to join me today. In today's brief video, we're going to be discussing a very important concept in the world of personal finances. And in fact, this should be very important for everybody watching this video. And that is the need to have an emergency fund. And you might say, Lyle, I don't need this. I'm young. Or you might say that I am a Christian and God will protect me. And the reality of it is we live in the earth, right? And things happen. And when we talk about emergency funds, we're not talking about necessarily some catastrophic event like the loss of a job, which could be something that could happen. Hopefully not to you. But what about your car tires going out? What about the unexpected medical bill that comes up? Those are the types of emergencies or unexpected costs, if you want to call it that you should be setting aside a certain amount of money so that when that happens, you don't have to go and make a loan from somebody or you don't have to use a credit card. So as I indicated, it's not just for catastrophic events. And while it could be, it's important that you do set aside a certain amount of your income, and we'll get into that in the next few minutes. But just think about things that have caught you off guard in the past that you should have known about. So those are the types of things that you can plan for. And remember, an emergency is not, oh, there's a sale on my favorite airline to my favorite location, or there's a sale at the store. Oh, there's my favorite game that's gone on sale. That is not an emergency. It's something that you need to incur the cost on in order to maintain your lifestyle. So you might need tires to be able to get to work. You might need to go to the doctor if you injured yourself so that you can go to work and you can earn an income. If you lose your job, you will definitely need an income to be able to honor your obligations if you've got a mortgage or if you need to put food on the table and so on. So it's more for events like that where you need to make sure that there's a certain amount set aside so that if an event takes place which you did not plan on happening, that you can actually cover those costs. Okay, so just remember guys, make sure that it is an emergency or an unexpected cost. Something else I want to encourage you is to make sure that it's not readily available, and by that I mean that it's not part of your normal checking account or savings account, because then you might be inclined when that sale happens to dip into your emergency fund to pay for something that you shouldn't be paying. I always encourage people that I coach to have your emergency fund maybe at another bank account or at another bank in another bank account where you can't just go and withdraw the money if you want to just spend it on things that you shouldn't be spending on. Okay, so consider having it at a separate bank account. The next thing people oftentimes ask me is, Lal, how much should we have? We hear the number $1,000 being thrown around or 10,000 Rand being thrown around. How much should we have? Before we get into that, there's just an interesting statistic that I'd like to share with you. In the United States, it's been indicated that a large portion of the population can't afford a $400 bill without using a credit card. In South Africa, the amount is not $400, but it's actually 10,000 Rand. A decent amount of the population is not able to pay for 10,000 unexpected bill, 10,000 Rand unexpected bill without using credit. So I would say it's safe to say if you find yourself in the United States, to start with $1,000, in South Africa to start with 10,000 Rand. So before you do anything else, before you start saving for your dream house, before you start tackling your debt and paying more on your debt, I encourage you guys to get that as a base, $1,000 in the United States and then 10,000 Rand in South Africa. And then above and beyond that, to set aside 3 to 6 months worth of income to cover expenditure that's necessities. So you kind of need to do some work. You need to identify what costs you incur on a monthly basis that's necessities. So these would be things like your food, your mortgage, your fuel to get to work, not your fuel to go on drives and do things like that, and any other essential costs like maybe medical costs. Those are essentials. Identify what those costs are and then set aside 3 to 6 months that will cover that. Once you've got that fully funded, You can then consider whether or not you want to lengthen that to 12 months or even beyond that. But I think there's various factors you can consider. Maybe the type of profession you find yourself in. Maybe if you've got some extra income coming in from other sources on a regular basis, that maybe 3 to 6 months is okay for you. But I would say start at $1,000 in the United States and start at 10,000 Rand in South Africa and then increase it to 3 to 6 months. But how long should it take for you to get to the 3 to 6 months fully funded emergency fund? That's entirely up to you. Some people want to get there as quickly as possible, and if that's you, great. Other people say we've got debt payments that we need to honor over and above our normal minimum payment, but we want to make sure that we pay our debt off quicker. Well, I say if that's your goal, great, but maybe consider taking 20% then and then directing that towards your emergency fund and then 80% of your disposable income towards your debt. So you're getting rid of the debt quickly, but you are funding your emergency fund also real quickly. So a few quick takeaways, guys. It's important to have an emergency fund. Number two, make sure that it's in a vehicle where you can't just dip in and use the money on things that might not be an emergency. Before you spend the money, consider whether or not you're spending the money on something that is an emergency or an unexpected expense. And then finally, determine whether or not 3 to 6 months is what you want, or if you want a bit more stability or a bigger safety net. Okay, if you're enjoying these videos, guys, I encourage you to click subscribe below, share this with friends and family, and I look forward to catching up with you in the next video real soon. Bye, guys.